Hey, could you introduce yourself and the role that you play in the company?
Sure. My name is Virginia Sharma. I'm the Vice President of Marketing, Communications, and Corporate Citizenship for IBM India, South Asia. And I've been with the IBM Corporation coming up to 14 years, and have been in this role for about 18 months.
Okay, great. So if there are 3 key takeaways from the session to the audience that you'd like to share with, what would it be?
Sure. So I moderated a very interesting panel about connecting with the connected consumer. And the key takeaways that I got were, first and foremost, while we are very focused on the connected consumer, there's still a large part of our Indian population that is still semi-connected. And that we should not assume that everybody is sort of the upper end or the the hyper-connected focus. So I learned a lot from Shiv's session in the morning about how the feature phone can still be a smartphone, because that connects the rural Indian, and if it is giving you smart functionality like taking a photograph, that is smart for that person. So that is still connected, right? Because now he can send the photograph to his family and so on and so forth, and that's worth something. And I'd always thought about, connected being about smartphones and everything else. So that was very good learning. The second thing that I took away from the session was really about this idea that even for connected consumers, the fundamentals don't change in marketing, which is you still have to start with a decision on one message that you now need to feed into multiple devices and channels. But you still have to come up with that one message. It doesn't mean that what you kind of deliver on the mobile app is going to be different than what you put in the print ad, is what is different than what you put on TV and so on and so forth. So this idea that you still have to execute the fundamentals of marketing of message, feeding multiple mediums is very, very important. And I think the third very interesting thing that I took away was actually from Ethan McCarthy's presentation, who's from our global team, which is really about how this idea that you really need to decentralize your social media sort of strategy and policy and empower employees through values. And believing that they will do the right thing, because what social media does is that you're not anonymous, and the velocity of what you say and the permanence of what you say
matter.
Once you put it out there, it's always going to be out there, and you're responsible for that. So you're not really going to do anything stupid. And how you have to trust your people with your brand. And I think those would be the 3 messages that I think were the most interesting for me and enlightening for me.
Great, those were wonderful. Okay, so what do you think about brands being producers of content in terms of social media space and in terms of videos? And what changes do you foresee in this area?
Yeah, so I actually don't think brands are producers of content.
Okay.
I actually think individuals are producers of content, and brands are a topic of interest or conversation or content themselves. So it is a role of the brand to be interesting for people to want to talk about that brand. But ultimately, content is produced by a person, right? So, a brand's job in the past used to be about recall, right, through advertising and whatnot. And what did that do? Hey, let me talk to you about, so-and-so ad that I saw, or a product that I saw or I experienced. And that was communicated through word of mouth. But now for people to talk to your brand, they want to experience it holistically. It's not just about, a tagline or something. A brand represents a collection of not just the most recent campaign or the hottest product, but what the company stands for, its values, what it does for its society, what it does for its industry, who's leading it. All of these things now matter. So it's not just good enough to have one persona. Holistically, you have to be an interesting company with high integrity for people who want to talk about you. So content is generated by people. Brands are a topic of interest and a topic of conversation.
Okay, great. I think that was a very interesting viewpoint. I don't think anybody has touched upon that until now. So thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Virginia.